Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. It is the Tuesday after the Labor Day long weekend. The kids are going back to school. We've got people going back to work, maybe not quite sure. But we are heading into definitely a new season because I don't know about you, but it's getting a little bit chillier here. My name is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey. I am the founder and host of Let's Talk Supply Chain podcast, as well as the Blended podcast. And you are here with me on Thoughts and Coffee that happens every single Tuesday morning. And it is the fastest 30 minutes in supply chain, just saying. Audrey Ross is back with us today as the guest. She has been in the US for the last week or so I can't wait to catch up with her, get to know how her trip was. Plus, we have so many things to go through. So I think we just need to get started. So, number one is that Let's Talk Supply Chain was featured as the top 90 supply chain blog. I think we're something like 40 something, maybe. Anyways, thank you so much to FeedSpot for adding us to this list. We are super excited about that. I've also been nominated as the Peerless Women's Leaders. I am on that group, on that list, sorry, for 2021, and I cannot wait to share that with you. I think we're going to be sharing that with you this week. Plus, I made another list, but I can't tell you about it until September 18th when that's coming out. So definitely let you know about that. What else have we got going on? Oh, this week's episode is Lisa Morales Hellebo. If you haven't heard about Lisa, then I don't know where you've been because she is the co-founder of the New York Supply Chain Meetup. And her and Brian are doing some amazing things in supply chain. So go and check her out. Go and check out the episode. We talked all about her journey, and she has gone from like fashion into tech and now into supply chain. And she has definitely taken some names while she's doing that. So go and check that out. That one's our latest episode. You can find it over at letstalksupplychain.com, or you can find it wherever you subscribe to the show. Plus, on our Let's Talk Supply Chain YouTube channel, we also have the episode there as well. So now you can actually watch all of our podcast episodes, which I'm super excited about. So last week we announced that Imtiaz was our winner of the month. So remember, you want to engage with us on social media and throughout all of our live shows, and you could be our monthly winner of our coffee mug. But I also wanted to show you what else is available at letstalksupplychain.com because we've got some really cute, fun supply chain merch over on our website that you might want for the, supply chainer in your life. So go and check that out as well. What have we got next? Oh, Let's Talk Supply Chain Asia Pac. So as you guys know, we franchised to Asia Pac just a couple of months ago. Jonathan Kemp is our host over there. But I wanted to show this to you because they literally just launched their first episode. So it's called New Beginnings in a Chaotic New Normal. So go and subscribe to them because they're over on Amazon Music, Apple, Spotify. Plus, they just made their first partnership announcement with Parcel Monitor as well, which is a huge deal. And we are super excited about that. So go and follow them too. We've got a LinkedIn page for them. Let's Talk Supply Chain Asia Pac. Now, what's coming up? Well, we've got some upcoming events for you. We've got a brand new live show with Topple. So it's called Purpose, Planet, and Profit with Topple. And they're going to be talking all about sustainability and blockchain. And this one's happening September 15th at noon Eastern. And you're not going to want to miss this because it's going to be an amazing episode. I believe Kim is going to be hosting that one. And I cannot wait to find out who her guest is for that one. On September 23rd, we are doing a LinkedIn Live event with Easy Mile, and we're going to be talking about real automation for real supply chains. AJ, can you put the link for people to actually register for this event in the comments for me? That would be amazing. And then, of course, we've got Manifest coming up, which should be in person in Vegas, January 25th and 27th. Okay. Well, that was a lot because we've got a lot going on at Let's Talk Supply Chain. I've got one more announcement, but I am going to bring Audrey up on stage with me before we get into that announcement because I really want to see what her trip was all about. Good morning, Audrey.
Good morning.
How are
Hi,
you?
everyone. Good.
Good, good. So
Okay, so
before we get into that, just give everybody a quick introduction as to
I
who
was
you
just
are
going to say I'm going to introduce myself because I forget and assume that people know
every
exactly who
time.
I am. Every time you have to tell me. So I'm Audrey Ross. I'm here in Toronto, Canada. I'm back in Canada after quite an adventure last week, and just on Saturday, really, with my air travel. So I'm a logistics and custom specialist in-house at Orchard Custom Beauty, an award-winning business-to-business private labeling company that specializes in cosmetics, beauty tools, and bath accessories. So that's a little bit about me. And yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to say
Yeah.
good morning to Crystal and Imtiaz. The winner is over on my personal LinkedIn page. So, hello to everybody. We're going to get through everybody's comments here as well.
Yeah.
So, where did you go? What did you do?
Oh my gosh, where didn't I go? Really? I started. So my some of you know my dad lives down in the U.S. He's in Greenville, South Carolina normally, and we also have some family up in Chicago. So we started our trip off in Chicago, and he's doing almost a full month of a road trip through sort of from Illinois over to the West Coast and looping into Oregon and back into Washington. So I joined him for the first week from Chicago. We saw family in Madison, Wisconsin. We had dinner with his friends in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Then we
Ooh.
drove into the Badlands in South Dakota through Sioux Falls or Sioux City to the Badlands in South Dakota, which was really fascinating. Like just a whole, it gets a little bit like if you're Canadian, it looks a little bit as you're going in from Saskatchewan to Alberta. And then we went from there into Custer Falls State Park, up into Mount Rushmore. So I got to see Mount Rushmore, which I'll be honest, it seems a little larger than when you're right in front of it. And like
That
it's
is kind of true.
fascinating,
I've been there. It's true.
right? It's like you're expecting this like just massive, and it is massive, but not quite as massive as what you sort of have in your head. But it's fascinating. And if you go into Custer State Park, you get a really great long view around the Iron Mountain Road. Where else did we go? We went to Deadwood, just north of Rapid City, which is where that TV show and like you have Wild Bill and Calamity Jane, and we went to the cemetery, so we did that. And then we just kept driving. We drove right into Wyoming, all the way to Yellowstone. I keep calling it Yellowknife because I'm Canadian. Yellowstone Park. Did not see Yogi Bear or any bears. We did see a lot of bison, a lot of elk, and mountain goats, and it is stunning country out there. And if you get the chance to go, like I loved we saw Old Faithful and the geysers and all of that stuff. So it was just fascinating. And then we ended up driving into Montana, so that I could fly home from Billings, Montana, which is apparently someone I know, Dale from TPM, is born and raised there. So that was really, really neat. And then he carried on from there, and I was supposed to be home on Friday night, and there was weather in Denver, and that didn't happen. So some of you, if you follow me on Twitter, you kind of came along with me for the journey. 7 a.m. Saturday to 7 p.m. Saturday night, I finally got home from Denver. So, but without my luggage.
But throughout all of that driving, did you sleep
Yeah.
at all? Because you saw so
We
many.
saw so much stuff, and we drove a lot. Yeah, no, we slept, and actually in Custer Park, we were in these little wood cabins that were really cute. So no, I got some good sleep, and I was totally disconnected because I didn't kind of turn on my service. There wasn't a lot of Wi-Fi where we were. And even my dad, when he offered, he's like, oh, if you want a hotspot, it'd be in places like Wyoming where we're driving through the mountains, and he didn't even have service.
Right.
So
How is that disconnecting though? I don't think I've ever done that.
I know you kept asking if I was going to take my laptop. I'm like, no, I'm just going to go see some bison and just leave it at home.
Nice.
But it was, yeah, you get a bit, like, oh, I should. And I'm like, what do I have to do? I don't have anything to do. I just have to be here. So.
That is nice.
Yeah,
That is
it was
really,
nice.
really nice. Well, I am super excited that you had a great trip
Yeah.
and really excited that you're back with us today. But we have a lot to cover. So let's talk about the question of the week.
Yeah.
So last week we asked all of you who would be your dream brand to work for. Now, we did have a lot of really interesting comments, and people actually were tagging the brands that they wanted to work with, which I thought was amazing because then that's kind of you going like, "Hey, I'm here and I really
Bold
want to work with you,"
move.
right? For me, I would say The Honest Company. I've always wanted to interview Jessica Alba. I don't know why. It's just
Yeah,
always been that
that's your
thing.
thing. Yeah.
And so it would be The Honest Company, and it would be interviewing Jessica Alba. What about you?
Okay, so this is a tough one because I'm so into fashion. And
Hmm.
it was funny because this woman wrote a book about a lawyer who worked in house at Chanel. And I was like, who even realized that you could be a not fashion designer and work at Chanel? So, something like Chanel or Chloe or some sort of
Mhm.
fashion. But then, I'm so into space. So I actually had looked into if I'm going to go to space, maybe I'd work in space logistics.
Yes.
So I looked at SpaceX, right, which is like the Elon Musk, that whole thing. But because space is it's technology, it's security, so you have to be an American citizen to work at SpaceX, and you have to have like significant ability to do security clearance.
You
So
need to
a
work on
couple of hurdles. Yeah, a few hurdles there, but we'll see.
that. Awesome. Well, we want to hear from you guys as well. Peter says,
No,
already
I'd
did
love
it
to
at
hear.
Air Canada. What an amazing 25 years that was. So grateful to have
Yeah.
that, the opportunity. Somebody in our comments said, let's talk supply chain. And I was like, yes, we have made the list. Laura
Yeah.
says, any airline to get discounted flights.
Oh, yeah.
And Jonathan said, let's talk supply chain Asia
Of course.
Pac because he knows somebody over there. Well,
Lindsay.
anyways,
Just to say to Peter, my Air Canada flight was amazing, and their video screens and very, they're kind of ahead of everyone else.
all right. Well, my thoughts and coffee post on
Yeah,
Sunday. Let me tell you, okay, this was a huge, huge, huge announcement. I've been working on this since I think December last year.
yeah.
We finally got to film in June, and Audrey can give you some behind the scenes exclusive information because she was here with me. But we finally got to launch and release it last week. And
So
I
excited.
don't have I need a drum thingy. I need like a
Yeah, yeah.
anyways, my new LinkedIn learning course for supply chain. It's called Fundamentals of Sustainable Supply Chains. And one of the biggest things that I'm super, super proud of as well is that I'm the first female instructor for supply chains in LinkedIn Learning. And
Nice.
so, huge, huge, huge deal. Really, really excited about this. I hope that you go and take the course. It's really talking about the fundamentals from like mindset and
Yeah.
what you need to be thinking about and how do you rally people and things like that. So Audrey, what did you think of this post? Give some people some behind the scenes of what they're looking for.
Well, I'm sure it's a little bit different in non-pandemic times as well, because you would probably go into like a little studio instead of having to recreate your office living room into, a professional, like we were setting up lights, we were fiddling with microphones and we're doing it while people are sort of, I'm sort of holding stuff up to the camera, like, is this what you wanted? And it was awkward. And then I'd forget and I'd be standing in front of the camera and I'd be like, oh, they can all kind of just see me standing here. But then I got to spend time with Kona and Cody because of course,
Kenzie,
sorry, Kenzie.
Kenzie.
I keep doing that. So I got to do that so that you could film because of course you're at home and they miss you and want to be on camera also, which
They do.
doesn't really work for the learning.
And
So
we would have heard their little their
the
nails along the
Yeah.
the wood floor. But
Yeah.
I do have some behind the scenes pictures that I
Yeah.
will be sharing with everybody a little later on. I talked about quite a few people and quite a
Yeah.
few companies that are doing things and really good things in supply chain for sustainability. And so I'll be doing another post tagging all of them to let them know that they're part of the course as well, because I don't even think they know that yet.
Probably not.
But anyways, so if you didn't check it out, AJ, can you post the link to this particular post in the comments for everybody in case they want to go and check that out? And we'll be doing a post on Let's Talk Supply Chain for it, and then you can look out for it because we'll be doing it on a regular basis. But anyways, that happened, and super excited to share that with everybody and hope that you enjoy it. Really would love some amazing feedback from you, whether good, bad, ugly, whatever. I want to hear from you so that I can do better next time.
Yeah. Well, I think people too don't realize like the amount of, there's the filming, right? And that whole production piece, but then there's all the work that goes into it. Like, you're pulling some of the more notable examples and doing the research and digging into how you're going to present. So yeah, so it's so impressive to see. Yeah.
Amanda says that.
Oh, it's very good. Yay.
Yes, it's a very good course.
He's already finished it. Like, nice.
That is awesome. Well, it's a good course. It doesn't take too long for people to take it. But anyways, all right, let's talk about the supply chain topics for the day. So the first one is what we've been promoting, because we all want to know what happens when containers fall overboard. Now, I thought this was a really good one, and Cargo Partner has a great article on this. AJ is going to share the link to that article for you guys as well. What it says is 80% of goods travel on 90,000 vessels, and 25 to 40 million containers are in use. I'd like to know what that number is today, though, because I know we've been having some shortages in containers, so I'm not quite sure if we're up to those numbers, people, but we'll see.
Yeah.
They said on average, 568 containers are lost per year. But what I can tell you is from December 2020 to February 2021, 2,810 containers were lost at sea, which is like 4 times more than the average that we've been seeing. So a couple of reasons why containers fall overboard is rough seas or the stack collapsing. So the stack, because the containers are all stacked, and if it's not, properly, bundled together, or they can collapse, apparently. I don't even know that.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that I thought was an interesting fact is that floating containers are dangerous. So these containers mostly fall to the bottom of the ocean. However, some of them are stubborn and stay floating, or they're reefers and they have way more buoyancy. And so, but they only float a little bit, so you can't really see them when you're actually in a vessel. And so they are actually the most dangerous to small vessels because they don't see them until the last minute, which I thought was crazy. What did you think about this?
Yeah, I think people, when we say floating, I think people picture the box sitting on top of the water, and it really doesn't sit. It's like a little mini Lego iceberg. And you only see like the tip of the orange or the pink or whatever rusty red color that they are. So yeah, apparently it's a real hazard for the small pleasure craft like yachts and small fishing boats, because you can only see that little bob. But what two things about containers overboard. One, I've almost had containers overboard. Which is not a pleasant experience. And the article does go into having marine and cargo insurance, which our friend Allison Cusack as well cannot emphasize enough. I think, we've all said it, bruh, you need the cargo insurance. But also the article goes into all the little things that have there's kind of 2 parts to it. One, it's fascinating for humans to watch fun stuff come up on the beach. So in the case in this article, it talks about the Lego, and there's a beach that's now like Lego Beach that you can go and like pick Lego because containers.
That's in Cornwall.
In Cornwall, right? So head over to Cornwall and say hi to Susan Walsh on the way, and go to Lego Beach. The fascinating one I love is the Garfield telephones, and some of them maybe people who are a bit more experienced in the supply chain, because that one's been going on. I mean, I think that started in the 80s, and it's these Garfield telephones that I think it must have been floated to the bottom, and they just kind of come up and show up randomly. So that's fascinating. But it's also, oh my God, right? So it's also the environmental perspective of like, we're dumping all this stuff in the sea, and some of it might be dangerous because there are actually people who don't declare that they have dangerous goods. And so the goods make it onto the vessel and then they get overboard and they're dangerous. So that's not great. But the other part of the article that was really cool was that marine scientists, biologists, whatnot, actually can track the patterns of the ocean based on when these containers fall off and what comes out of them. So one example was they could track the ocean current from Alaska to Hawaii, because the container had fallen overboard. So I'm glad that's helpful.
Yeah, that is helpful. Well, and the other thing that I thought was, so in 1992, apparently there was a container full of plastic duckies and frogs.
That's a
And
really good
I
one.
can't remember, it says in the article where it actually fell off.
Yeah.
But apparently some of these duckies and
Yeah.
frogs landed in Europe in 2007,
Yeah.
which means that that was 15 years later. So first of all, what are they made of? And they didn't disintegrate.
Oh,
Second
it's
of
hard
all,
plastic they're made of. Yeah.
15 years for it to be in the ocean and land in Europe, and they traveled 27,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, picture this, right? You're in a yacht, and then all of a sudden a rubber ducky like floats by you, and you're like, where did that thing come from? Well, it came from a container, people, and this is what logistics is all about. Anyways, we've got to move on to our
Yeah.
next article, but I really like that one. You guys
I
go
love
check
that
it out
one.
because I mean, we talk about containers overboard all the time, and there's a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions, and that article answers most of them. All right. So, our next article comes from CNN Business. Guys, we are expanding
Yeah.
where we are getting our
That's
articles
the
from
hustle.
because everybody is talking about supply chain. Yeah, this week I don't have a hustle article, but anyway. So this one is about Walmart wanting to deliver your stuff even though you don't buy it at Walmart. So who are they taking on? They're taking on Amazon, they're taking on FedEx, they're taking on UPS,
Yes.
and they see a huge gap in the market. And one of the things that I thought interesting about this article is they say last mile is typically a money losing venture. And so Walmart are going to have to move a ton of packages to make it a lucrative venture. However, my question to you is, will their logistics expertise be the competitive advantage? Because most people before them, I mean, other than obviously FedEx and UPS, have struggled in the logistics department and not having enough experience there to really make it work. So, what did you think about this?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised because I mean, maybe they're delivering in the US right now because I don't really see them delivering in Canada, beyond maybe some of that Instacart kind of via business. So it'll be interesting to see that they want to do this whole expansion. I mean, just as Amazon got into the Whole Foods because of the Whole Foods footprint, I mean, you can't deny that Walmart has a massive distribution and logistics network and footprint. But you're right, it is whether they can manage the last mile piece, which is very different from moving trucks and trailers and pallets and containerized goods. Like it just is. And we've seen a lot of people struggle in this space, and UPS and FedEx are struggling right now, just with the high volume. So I don't know. It's a whole other thought process, and it'll be exciting to see what
So,
how
Rhonda says Walmart is hiring like crazy.
I
Lots of warehouse
imagine.
opportunities in Arizona. So, if you're
Yeah.
looking for a job and you want to go to Arizona, I mean,
Yeah.
who
And
doesn't?
a warehouse is a great way to start that. That's how my dad got started. He started as a warehouse worker, became the warehouse manager, and then he sort of shifted into the supply chain piece. So, you know, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about distribution, inventory, and supply chain to start out there too.
So I'm not sure who this is, but they've been contributing a lot. It says LinkedIn user, a
Yeah.
strategic alliance would be a better way to go. I'm always about strategic alliances.
Yeah.
Obviously, collaboration is the future of business. Message me because I want to help you with this. I want to see your name next time, and we've got a way for you to change it from LinkedIn user to your name.
To who you
So
are.
email me.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
There we
AJ's
go.
on it. See,
We
AJ
got
said it.
AJ is on this. So if you want to change it so you have some visibility, please follow this. But one of the other interesting things about this article is that they were talking about how going from obviously delivering for whales or giant companies,
Yeah.
right, is very different than delivering for small to mid-sized businesses, which is what Walmart is going to.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very different to watch how they manage both, and how they actually move the products and deliver for people. But they already have a ton of people signed up for their service. So
Oh, I
apparently
imagine.
they're going to be ready to go for holiday season, which is fast approaching.
Wow. Well, I can see that because I mean that's why a lot of people have chosen, a lot of businesses have chosen Amazon. Is it's because you have this expectation that they have the skills and the network that you need, but you're a small business, so you can't build that. And I think Walmart will see that uptick in people who aren't supply chain people just want to pass that off and hire a third-party service. And if Walmart's going to do it,
Well, and they are promising better rates, which will also be very interesting to see. Just saying. Anyway,
Yeah, of course.
Newbury, want to say hi to you over on my personal LinkedIn page. Thanks so much for joining us. And Peter told us that Charles is the LinkedIn user. Charles, welcome to the show. Hopefully we can see your name next time. Peter has given me the 5-minute warning, which means that we need to go into our last article of the day. But I do want to tell you, over on the Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn, Peter and Imtiaz are discussing the amazing movies that also talk about containers overboard and things like that. So go and check that out. All right. Last but not least, this article. Did you ever think that we were going to be talking about disc golf on Thoughts and Coffee when it comes to supply chain? I did not, but this article came across my desk and I thought, we can't ignore it, because apparently, we've talked about lumber, we've talked about all sorts of things feeling the pinch in supply chain. And apparently, disc golf is feeling the pinch as well. You want to know why? Well, at the beginning of the pandemic, they had to close all the courses so that people obviously wouldn't go out and play disc golf. They even dismantled a lot of the baskets on the courses because people were still going out, even though they were asked not to. But even that didn't stop people, and they saw a huge spike in disc golf, which meant that, and all of their manufacturing facilities are in the US, and they had to shut them down because they were non-essential. So the spike grew exponentially for disc golf, and they couldn't keep up with demand because they couldn't keep their manufacturing open. And so they are way, way, way behind. And disc golf stuff, I don't know, baskets, discs, all of that kind of stuff are all back ordered, and you can't find it anywhere except for some people on eBay who have taken advantage of this, and they are selling disc golf stuff for, I don't know, 3 times the price, 4 times the price, something like that. So what did you think about this?
Okay, one, I didn't know that disc golf was a thing or what it was. So learn something new. 2, yes, a lot of even local, this is the point, even local businesses are facing the supply chain crisis pinch, maybe not because of the equipment capacity and shipping issues, but because of the labor changes or essential to non-essential statuses that we had in the early pandemic. And now, there could be material shortages as well. So no, it's a great article that outlines, just how many of our hobbies that we have are being directly affected, by what's going on. And that sub market too. Like you see now there's like a black market for disc golf gear. But you see that across everything. If you've got a disc golf set sitting in your garage and you're not using it,
hey,
in your apartment storage room or something, that's like, head on to eBay. But I think you'll find that with a lot of, could be lawn ball or lawn bowling, any little outdoor thing, right?
Should have invested in disc golf, right?
Right, Melanie?
I was thinking the exact same thing when I was reading this article.
I was thinking I should have bought a boat.
If I find this fascinating, you're going to find this fascinating. And you're going to come up with things like that. We should have invested in those. One interesting point of this article is they talk about how they have forecasting technology to help them with supply and demand. And they talk about how it helps them actually figure out per brand or per product how much they want to be buying from their manufacturer. And so they've already put in an order for like 16,000, but they're only one of several customers that this manufacturer is obviously selling to. And so they've got all these huge, crazy orders, but I don't think anybody's going to get any sort of disc golf anything for at least another 6 months. They're not sure how long it's going to go for, but I think it's going to be at least another 6 months. Hopefully they are ready to go for next summer season so that disc golfers can get back on the field, because I don't know about you, but I'm back on the field for baseball and it's amazing. I am just very happy to be back on the field playing. Anyways, we have had quite a discussion today. We've had a lot of great people weighing in and some fun discussions about some good supply chain topics. So we appreciate all of you. Thank you guys so much for joining us on your Tuesday morning. As always, next week, I've got Tom from Source Day. He's going to be my guest here at Thoughts and Coffee, and we're going to be talking about some fun sourcing stories as well. So I can't wait to see you back here. Have a great short week, everybody, right? This is the first day. So we've only got another 4 days, well, 3.5 days to go, kind of. Have a great one, and we'll see you back here next week.